This story isn't fiction, it's a mirror. Let's talk about what no one wants to say, but everyone needs to hear. There was a man called David, and on the surface, he lived what most people would call a good life. He had a job that paid him just enough to survive, friends he argued with every weekend about politics, and family who believed he was on the right track because he followed the same path they did. But yet, David never questioned anything. See, his whole life felt like freedom. But yet, something inside of him whispered, "You are not free." Every morning, David woke up, grabbed his phone, and scrolled. His thoughts weren't his. They belonged to the headlines that told him what to be outraged about today. His arguments wasn't his. They were designed to keep him different and disunited from people just like him. Even his emotions weren't his. They were fed to him like rations. Fear, anger, distractions, and the cycle repeats. Wait a minute. Can you believe that? A man living, breathing, walking through life, but never once living a thought of his own. Oh, that's the invisible prison. No chains, no bars, just a mind that have been trained to believe that the cage is freedom. David didn't realize it, but from childhood, the walls were already being built. Every phrase like, "That's how the world works," or "Don't ask too many questions," became bricks. The cartoons he watched, the textbooks he read, the slogans he repeated, the labels he wore, all became a labels of barbed wires, wrapped not around his body, but around his mind. But here's the trap. Because he could move, because he could laugh, because he could choose between two jobs, because he could choose between two brands of cereals or two politicians, he thought he was free. Oh, but choice without awareness is the cruelest form of slavery. One day, David met a woman named Amina. She was different. She didn't argue when people shouted. She didn't scroll endlessly or fall into the cycle of outrage. When David asked her why, she said something that pierced his chest. If they control what you fear or what you desire, they don't need to control your body because they already control your soul. That night, David couldn't sleep. He realized he had never for once asked himself, "Do I actually believe the things I repeat? Do I actually know where my thoughts comes from?" See, the invisible prison doesn't demand you sit still. It demands you run in circles, chase distractions, shout at strangers, and even feel proud about being informed. All the while, you are locked inside a cage that you cannot see. Oh, but here's the part people don't really like to hear. Most people will live and die in that prison. And this is not because the door is locked. It is simply because people never look for the key. David almost stayed there. Almost. But something inside of him, something small at first, like a whisper, refused to die. That night, when he couldn't sleep, he walked outside under the street lights. He looked around and noticed something that he had never paid attention to before. People walking with their heads down, earphones plugged in, eyes glued to screens, movements that looked so mechanical that it almost feels rehearsed. Oh, and then it hit him. They were just like him. See, David realized that the scariest thing wasn't that he was trapped. The scariest thing was that everyone around him was trapped too. Oh, but they were all pretending to be free. He thought about his worker, who lived paycheck to paycheck, but wondered why the system kept him exhausted. He thought about his best friend, who fought every online battle but never fought the silence in his own soul. He thought about his family, repeating generational routines like sacred scriptures, and never asked, who wrote this script in the first place? David almost stayed there. Almost. Until he asked that same question. Who wrote this script? And that became the crack in the wall. See, when you start to question the prison doesn't clap for you. No, it fought back. His friends called him paranoid. His boss labeled him difficult. His family said, why can't you just be normal? Oh, and maybe you felt that too. That resistance, when you begin to see. David cried out one night, not because he was weak, but he realized how much of his life he had given away to forces he never chose. That weak cry wasn't shame, it was release. It was grief for the years he would never get back. Oh, but then came something else. Clarity. He looked in the mirror and said out loud, if my thoughts aren't mine, then today they return back to me. If my fears were planted, then today I uproot them. If my desires were designed, then today I choose what I really want. It wasn't a sudden escape. No one wakes up one morning fully free. But step by step, David began to take back his life. He stopped chasing every outrage. He stopped giving his energy to arguments that went nowhere. And he started asking the most dangerous questions of all. Why? Oh, and did you know what happened? The world didn't like it. The prison will always try to pull you back through comfort, through fear. But then, David tested something too real to ever unsee. He wasn't out yet, but he was awake. And here's the truth. Once you are awake, the walls of the invisible prisons can't hold you captive again. If this story made you pause, then maybe it's time to talk to yourself. We just came to the end of this video, and I'll urge that you subscribe, follow, like the video, comment, share this video to who you feel needs to hear it. Let's awaken the soul, one story at a time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.